everyone, and thanks for checking out my channel. I'm going to have a look at a couple of markets tonight just to see where we are on that Wednesday, what we could get for the coming days, and of course the plan that we could have ahead of us for the next coming week or so. So starting with WTI crude oil. So as I was looking at over the weekend, was expecting move to the upside. And actually the start to actually move down, back down, and getting some selling pressure building up on that triple top at 41.5 level. So it's definitely a level where oil is struggling to break above at the moment. So we did get that break and start building now inside, still that sort of inverted handle in that pattern. And building up some more range trading, as we know, approaching 41. So we got some significant move today, as you can see. That did come slightly higher than what we could expect from some sort of a head and shoulder pattern here. So having the shoulder here, just draw it quickly, but having the shoulder here, then the head over there, and then the other shoulder would be here. So it went a little bit higher than the 41 level. So let's see if it does actually break higher, or if we actually see some rejection at that level. So at the moment it is forming some sort of a bull flag, so a break higher is not impossible. We could go and revisit 41.5. We are still inside 1 hour divergence here, so spot on the trend line on that point here at 41. Another visit slightly above is of course very much possible. Let's see if it does happen the same way that we had in the previous visit at 41.5, but we basically need to stay under that level, otherwise we'll start losing some selling pressure on WTI. That's probably not looking so good for short position. So short term, I think we'll watch this level, and of course we having that trend line to break. Hopefully that should happen within the coming 2 days, break lower, then we start looking now at the target at 37 for WTI, potentially next week. Looking at natural gas, so natural gas did move lower significantly, so we got break under that downtrend channel with acceleration to the downside, and finally found support on that trend line here that was actually rejecting the price a couple of times. We got buy signal as well on lower time frame here on the 1 hour here. As we can see, the price did diverge here. Didn't open long on this, mainly because there was a very short-term trade. It could, of course, come back inside the channel and go revisit 2.8, but I'm still a little bit nervous with that very large gap we're still having underneath, and the contango is still significant. So buying that market so close now to the rollover is of course risky, and also with the ETFs, they're actually not catching up with the leverage necessarily on the right contract, which is making that's making it a little bit trickier to trade. So I'm staying away from this, but I might not exclude re-entering shorts at 2.8 somewhere. Should we actually get proper signal? We had a very neat one on 285, as we can see here. So the momentum was struggling here to actually break higher. Just over there, that was the signal to load short position, especially since we were on that trend line. So we're having a frame for that trade, but definitely short, in my opinion, for the coming weeks. We should actually drop much lower, at least to attempt to close that gap, potentially 2.12. That would actually give us much more security to start accumulating long for winter, as we never know if winter will actually come and make that price shooting up given the current level of inventory. Looking at copper, it's another market. I'm also positioned short with a similar pattern that what we have on WTI, but that one is more of a top pattern, like cup handle inverted as well, but looking very that rising wedge that got broken here, revisited a couple of times actually. That wasn't really that expected, but still we're having a very large divergence on the daily that's actually pointing to that peak here, which is why I'm still having 2.7 as a target for the swing on copper, but it's showing definitely resilience at the moment. There's some strike action in Chile that actually putting a floor on that market, even if it doesn't really to be impacting on production, but still psychologically there's a little reluctance to actually short that market at the moment. So I'm expecting some more range bound trading on this, potentially above $3, then staying probably under 3.10 until we get some actually breakdown. But of course we'll get that trend line here on the RSI that's definitely capping the price, so I'm not too sure how far I can actually go higher, but yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. We're talking here about potentially a good 2 weeks before we actually reach the objective, should we not have any news on the market that's making this dropping lower. Now moving on, coffee, so we had interesting move on coffee as well. So that downtrend channel got broken out, revisited on that trend line now, and we also having divergence on the 4 hours. That's quite obvious now. I think that one is actually on the one drawing here. So now the price is moving a little bit away from that trend line, which is making it definitely possible to drop lower. I think 107, 106 is definitely possible without invalidating the reversal process. So it's not really sharp at the moment. It takes time. It's building up here at that level, but struggling to actually break much higher with some moving average in a way. So I'm still keeping the same objective. So we're having the top of that original divergence here that's pointing to 118. I think that's very likely to go there, and potentially in extension to 23, potentially a little bit higher to 25 for that next swing. So we're having that trend line, of course, that's running at 135, depending on how we get to the pivot point here. It might just close long or start actually looking at shorting that market again. And finally looking at corn, that's been in a reversal process as well for now a couple of days, and as we can see from that peak we had at 375, and from that peak here at almost 400, got a nice divergence on the daily chart here inside that rising wedge, and also having that major trend line that's running here at around 400. So I believe that market will reverse at some point, still showing strength, and of course we can still go a little bit higher and retest that trend line, so potentially re-attempt to break above 400. But I think that market is reaching exhaustion now on the upside, little left to move much higher, so we'll get probably a nice move to the downside very quickly with the target at 350 as soon as we break that rising wedge down. So yeah, that's all for tonight. I will check again a couple of markets over the weekend. Until then, I wish you safe trading, and I speak to you soon. Cheers, bye.